Welcome back. Now, the Democratic Alliance Federal Congress is underway at Gallagher Estate in Midrand. All eyes will be on the race for the party's top job. Current leader John Steenhuisen will face off against former Johannesburg Mayor Mpho Phalatse. Our senior reporter Siphamandla Goge is at Gallagher Estate and he joins us now for the very latest. Siphamandla, I can only imagine the race is currently on. It's either going to be John Steenhuisen or Mpho Phalatse. Tell us what's happening now.
It's a two-horse race. That one is confirmed. It's clear. There are only two candidates vying for the position of the federal leader, and one of them is the current incumbent, John Steenhuisen, who will be going head-to-head or toe-to-toe with the former City of Johannesburg Mayor Dr. Mpho Phalatse. What is currently happening, as my colleague Divo Masilo will be showing you, it's the voting on the constitutional amendments. The constitutional amendment proposal that has been submitted by Glenys, or rather Glenys Breitenbach, is dealing with the issue of payment of any compulsory public representatives and their contribution to the party. So what will be happening is that you will see delegates will be raising their green cards if they support that amendment. If they disagree with the amendment that is proposed, they will be raising their red card to say they disagree with what has been proposed. So a number of proposals and amendments are on the table, and that's what is being dealt with currently. And after this, then there will be that political address by the incumbent, the federal leader, that is John Steenhuisen. After that, then the conference will break into closed sessions. After closed sessions, it will be a wrap. During closed sessions, they will be discussing a number of resolutions and reports that they need to deal with, and those reports, will be confidential reports that they need to process, discuss, and resolve on what is happening moving forward. So that's what will be happening at this Congress. We are at the stage whereby we are dealing with the issue of constitutional amendments here, and there is an amendment that is proposed that deals with the issue of cessation of membership, and of course that has been proposed by Glenys Breitenbach. Of course, it's been seconded by Wena, one of the leaders and members of the DA here. So it's the voting. I don't know how long this session will take, but after this session we will get the speech and the address by that man that I've just spotted over there, John Steenhuisen, who is the current leader of the DA, the federal leader. He will be delivering his political speech, and then after that, then they will go to closed sessions. I just want to see if we can get a quick update from John Steenhuisen there, if he can join us and talk to us about what is currently happening. I see he's busy with the consultations at the moment, but I just want to see if we'll be able to get a word from him, as I see that he's being briefed at the moment by his colleagues. Gentlemen, I am so sorry to disturb you.
Not at all.
John, sorry to disturb your gathering and your caucus. Talk to us, brief us the update. What is currently happening? When are you delivering your speech as the current federal leader of the DA, not the contestant? Where are we in terms of the program?
Okay, so we're currently dealing with some constitutional amendments, and members are voting on that now. It's a very important part that's often overlooked because the leadership races always tend to overshadow this. But this is important work because it creates the framework in which our party operates, and then also determines the framework for our policy making going forward. So we're busy doing that voting on that now, and it allows any member of the party to put forward suggestions about what they would like to see changed in the party. And I'm very proud of the fact that we have a party that practices internal democracy. Every 3 years we have a leadership election and we give our memberships an opportunity to do that. I'm making my speech today as a candidate. I've got 5 minutes, I think it's around 2:30, but because we don't want to give any incumbent an advantage, I'll only be making my leader's speech tomorrow once voting is closed.
Okay. So these constitutional amendments are crucial in terms of the policy discussions that will take place tomorrow. Correct. And that leadership perspective that will be elected. Correct. Will be guided by the policies that would have discussed and adopted.
Correct. Yes. And we've been since 2019, really working very, very hard on developing policies and ensuring that we have a new policy platform. And the work that's been done by our policy unit has been incredible to get us to this point where it culminates now in a Congress where these things are discussed and voted upon. And the members decide what the way forward is.
In terms of time and schedule, are you on track? On track for the conference?
Yes, I think we're on time. I think it makes a big difference when you start on time and when the accreditation goes smoothly. So I think there's been no hiccups there.
Thank you very much for time. That is the current leader of the DA, John Steenhuisen, basically giving us the progress report and update on what is currently happening. He is, of course, contesting to be re-elected as the leader of the DA. Now that we have spoken to him, I would like us to take a listen to what Dr. Mpho Phalatse, who is contesting the same position that John is currently holding, had to say to us about her reasons for contesting. Let's please take a listen.
I'm contesting because I know the Democratic Alliance is the only party that can take South Africa forward, with the ANC promising to plummet below 40% in the upcoming national election. The Democratic Alliance needs to position itself as a credible alternative to take this country forward. I want to deal with the trust deficit that exists between the electorate and the Democratic Alliance that's denying us the mandate that we need to govern. We've never governed at a national level, in spite of the fact that we've got some of the best policies that have never been tried and tested. I want to position this party to be able to implement our policies, to showcase to all South Africans from all communities, rural and urban, that our policies are best placed to address the diverse South Africa that we live in.
You mentioned trust deficit. It was evident in 2019 when the DA was really quote-unquote punished by the voters because of internal squabbles that the party was going through. Are you hopeful that in 2024 the party will turn things around?
Under my leadership, I will ensure the party is united and the party is healthy and the party can have the influence in South Africa to show South Africans that we are the answer. I believe under my leadership we can get SA behind us.
Okay, Siphamandla, we've heard from both contestants now, and it's crucial that both contestants speak about their policies that they want to implement, about changing the many issues that this country faces.
Absolutely. Besides electing leadership, I think the most important aspect of any Congress, of any political party, doesn't matter whether it's the official opposition, which is the DA, the governing ANC, COPE, UDM, EFF, policy direction and policy discussions are key. And those discussions will take place tomorrow. And they will have to do with the issue of, economic policies. Remember, the DA has been heavily criticized in the past on their stance when it comes to the black economic empowerment policy that is in place, and it's the thing that the party has been grappling with. Economic policy, any policy that has got to do with the current energy crisis, on crime, on issues of gender-based violence. So it's a number of policy discussions that will take place tomorrow, and they will resolve on those. I've spotted Francois Rogers, who is the leader of the DA in KwaZulu-Natal. Jwaga, thank you very much for your time. As KwaZulu-Natal, what are the key policy discussions and proposals that you would want to see this Congress of the DA discussing?
Well, thank you, Siphamandla. I think the most important thing is that we need to put policies, which we've started at our federal level. The federal executive, which I serve on, and our federal council has already started that process. And of course, this is engaging a broader base of delegates now. But I think it's important that we put policies together in our country that address key and critical issues that affect the ordinary citizen in our country. And we talk about crime. We talk about gender-based violence, we talk about education, we talk about health. I can go through the entire list because that's what people want. That's the change they want to see. And that's why we're following this process now.
And I know you are following this process keenly, and on the discussion on coalitions, you will pay particular interest because after next year's election, some people are saying there is a likelihood that there will be a coalition government, particularly in the province where you come from. At some point in KwaZulu-Natal, where the official opposition, the IFP, had to take that spot from you. What is it that you're going to do to reclaim that spot, or even going further to try and challenge the governing ANC in KZN?
Well, indeed, Siphamandla, we've started that process as well. As you know, after the 2021 election, the IFP governed some municipalities, but they needed our support. So we didn't go into any coalition, but we went into a cooperation agreement. We've now put together a service delivery pact, and this is a way that we can try and size each other up as to how we can best improve governance. Because the last thing we want to do is go into a formal coalition and then we're part of the problem and not part of the solution. So we've started that process and we have regular engagements with the IFP.
For this Congress, is KwaZulu-Natal voting as a bloc or you are voting individually? Who are you supporting for the federal leader position?
I think it's no secret, Siphamandla, it's here. It's John Steenhuisen is my choice. And I think John's got the experience, I think he's got the knowledge, and I think he's got the stamina and the energy to take us into 2024.
On the 29th of April, you are also going to face a similar fate where you will be contested for the position of the provincial leader. Are you available for re-election? I'm told that one of your colleagues is going to put her hand up to challenge you.
Where, my man? In fact, Siphamandla, I have already announced that I'm standing. And there is another candidate, is a councillor and a very good friend of mine, Bongamusa Mhlabati. He's contesting me. And that's what democracy is all about. My friendship, I've come a long way with Bongamusa. My friendship will never change. And I look forward to a robust and a clean Congress. And our delegates in KwaZulu-Natal must make that decision.
Thank you very much for your time. Francois Rogers is the leader of the DA in KwaZulu-Natal as he's attending this conference, touching on a number of issues apart from leadership perspective and preference that he would want to see, but policy discussions and resolutions that would have to come out of this conference, especially moving forward to 2024. The official opposition would hope that the electoral fortunes will be slightly different and favorable this time around compared to what they registered in 2019 when they were plagued by a number of internal squabbles that led to the exodus of a number of African leaders, including their leader at the time, Mmusi Maimane.
It's going to be interesting to see what comes out of this, but thank you so much for that update. That was our senior reporter, Siphamandla Goge.